Hi friends, this is Damola. You're welcome to the Tailor's Hub. Happy last day of the year and compliments of the season. We thank God for life. Alright, so in this video, I'll be showing you how I recreated this stylish baby girl's dress with a damask and milkado silk fabric. Alright, if this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification so you know when a new video is uploaded. Thank you so much to all our existing subscribers. See you in the next slide. Alright guys, you're welcome back. So we'll be starting with the bottom part of the dress. Okay, so it has the bottom part has two layers of flare, if you have observed. So we'll be cutting the base first. To do that, this flare, I want you to take note, is a half circle flare, quite all right, but with a wide waist. The waist is going to be wide so that we can achieve the pleatings on the dress. So to do that, take out my half length here, all right, and I measure the length. That's the way I do. If I have folded the way I cut, if I want the waist of my half circle, even a full circle flare to be full, okay, so I just go ahead and measure the number of yards. For in this case, I measure a little over 2 yards, and I of course fold it. I used to tell my student that for them to be able to remember fast, I just tell them this is a triangle flare, so you fold it like a triangle, all right, with the zipper allowance out like this. So I take out my half length and I measure the length straight up. The length of this dress is 32 inches. Okay, I want us to see it well. That's why I'm shifting it. 32 inches, then plus the allowance, I'll just add an inch because we're going to be weaving it. So whatever remains here, I'm going to measure it round to get the waistline. All right. Okay, so you can see, of course, this is not the waist of the girl. Her waist is 24. By the time I do that, most of the time I like the waist to be doubled or 3 times or 4 times. Or in this case, I just want it to be times 2.5 of the waist. So now her waist is 24, as you can see. Look at this. This is 14. So that's about 2.5 of her waistline. Okay, so we go ahead and measure from this point, 22 inches. Okay. Okay, so we'll cut it out. All right, so we're going to be cutting the upper layer of the flare the same way as the base layer. However, the difference is that the length is not going to be the same thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So the first thing, I cut out the waistline, then I cut out the length as well. I mark out the length and I cut it. And although I'm still going to shape it, but let me cut it out first, and I shape out the slanting effect of the upper layer of the flare. However, because the one side of the flare is longer than the other side, I'm not going to be cutting this exact length. I'm going to be adding to the length so that by the time I shape it comes out beautifully. All right, let's do that. I want to shape out the sides I'm trying, so I'm going to be pinning it the way it's going to be positioned on the dress. All right, and this side is short. I want to make the length of this side 9 inches, 8 inches, but because of the sewing allowance, I make that place 9 inches. Then I begin to, slant it and bring it this way, okay, till it ends to this side. Take a look. All right. All right. That's about that. I want you to see it properly. That's why I'm moving it. You see, it's slanted. Slanted is not. So, exactly like this, I'm going to be placing it on this side. So, that's that for the bottom parts. Let's go ahead and cut the upper parts. So, let's cut the upper part of the dress. In the style, it has a net as the yoke at the yoke area. I'm not going to be using net. All right, so I'll just make what we're going to do is to turn out the same way. It will come out just like the way in the style, however, with little differences. So let's go ahead now. Let's see how it turns out. The half length of the girl, of the owner of this dress, is 11. So I measure 12 inches. That's the 1 inches for the allowance. I've already mapped out. You can see I folded both the front. I folded it into 4. This is the front and this is the back, of course. All right, so now 12 is 6 inches. I add half-inch allowance. I mark it. All right, okay. So the armhole length from the shoulder, 6 inches. Mind you, this is a 6-year-old, 7-year-old girl. Okay, so the armhole length is 6 inches. Then right under the armhole, I'm going to go ahead and measure her bust. Her bust is 26, and I divide 26 into 4. As you can see that the material is already folded into 4. So 26 into 4 gives us 6.5 or 6.5 inches. Okay, so I add the sewing allowance. All right, then I come to the waist. Her waist is 24. 24 into 4 is 6 inches. I measure the 6 inches and I add both the sewing and that sewing allowance is 1.5 inches and that allowance is 1 inch. Okay, so and I connect it. That's for that. Then the round neck, the neck is a round neck. So the neck width, I measure 2.5 inches. Then I go down from the shoulder also by 2.5 inches. Then we connect the round neck. Then I shape out my armpits. This is the way I shape it. Like I always explain, I just form an L here and put an arc just at the angle. That's the best way to, or there's no best way actually. That's a way to do it, especially if you don't have a ruler. So for the shoulder slope here, at the end of the shoulder right here, go down by 1 inch. It's just a simple, and we'll connect it. So that's for that. Then we go ahead and cut. I don't want the depth of the front and the back to be the same. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the back first because it's going to be higher. Take a look. So I cut the back first. All right. Then I cut the shoulder. Then you can see that I raised up the front before cutting so that I don't mistakenly cut it to the back. Okay, that's that. So now I want to show us something. I've already cut out a straight, the damask. I've cut it out straight like this. I'm going to be folding it into two to have that pleating at the chest area of the dress. So there's no one size fits all way to this particular long straight material that I'm going to be using for the pleating on the chest area of the dress. So you can cut 2 yards in width. You can as much as how full you want it to be. It may not be up to that, it may be up to that, and depending on how big the child is. So that's for that. So this is I'm not even sure, this is about 2 yards in width. That's 36 into 2 in width. All right, so I just cut about 9 inches here. Then we're going to be folding it into two like this. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Let's cut the sleeve and then the lining. We can now combine it together. This is what I cut away from the flare. We can use it to cut the sleeve. You can use, this is where I manage all my pieces so that none is wasted. All right, so I just go ahead and cut the armpit, the armhole. Okay, sorry, I didn't even measure it. I already have a preview of how I want it to look in my head, and so this is the sleeve. Notch the center. So let's go ahead and cut the lining so that we can couple it together. All right, guys. So here we are. I've held the dart, joined the shoulder of the upper part. So the next thing we're going to do now is to pleat the, it's not exactly like what's in the style. This is a mixture of two different materials. So I want to go ahead and pleat. There's a pleating somewhere around the chest area like this. So what to do, I'll go ahead from this other side. Is the pleating is slanted, it's not straight, it's slanted. So from here I'll measure 2.5 inches from this down. I'll take it up here by 2.5 inches. Then on the other side I'm going to measure about 4.5 inches as well. Take a look at this. Then I'm going to, you can use a ruler to connect it like this. All right, so now I could have just split it directly on them. I just want you guys to also see it. All right, so I'm going to be pleating on it like this. Okay, I want to leave this space because of the allowance. I'm going to use a cotton bias or cut pieces of this material to tape this place. That's why I'm not doing it like this. I'm not sewing it and folding. I want it to be taped like this. So this is it. Let's go ahead and pin them down. Okay, So this is it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it down now. Okay, so when I'm done sewing it down, then I'll use these pieces to turn it this way. Okay, this is the way I want it to look. I'm going to turn it this way. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and sew this lace and use this one to turn it. Okay, I'll be back. All right guys, see the turnout. I want you, this is an afterthought. So I didn't want this place to just be plain like that, so I thought of putting another line of this strap here, then so that it aligns also with the belt. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now is to, of course, hold the bust and the waist. Then we add the dress skirt part to it. Let's go ahead and mark the bust. So lining cloth to clothes like this. And of course lining to lining, as I'm going to join it. Guys, here we are. Look at the finished upper part. See the turnout. So the next thing we are going to do, of course, is to add the bottom part that is ready. Here is it. We're going to be joining it to it, and I'm also going to be pleating it just the way this one is pleated. I'm going to be pleating it just the way this one is pleated. All right, just a normal pleating. Let me show you a preview of how it's going to look like. Okay, this is the center. It's going to come this way, and of course the notching should align with the sides and the center. It's just a pleat. It's going to be a pleated dress like this. I trust you can see it. It's going to be pleated like that. Okay, so that's about that. Let's go ahead and finish up the dress. Or after the bottom part, I also add the sleeves that I've already prepared. I've already prepared the sleeve. Okay, this is the sleeve. Added 1.5 inch elastic. Okay, so here we are. Let's couple it together